Good day, my name is Chandria Lintao from BSID 22, and in this video, I will be showing and explaining all my answers for each problem, including the Java code and the actual output of each program. The IDE I use is Visual Studio Code. So let's start with problem 1. For problem 1, this is the code I wrote in app.java. So first, I put import java.util.scanner, and then I created the student class, and here at the top you can see the two fields required by the problem. The first one is the name, which stores the student's name, and quiz scores, an array that stores the three quiz scores. For this code, this part is the constructor. When I create a new student object, this constructor receives the name and the scores and assigns them to the fields. This is how the student object gets its data. This is the compute average method. Here, I created a variable sum and added all the quiz scores inside the loop. After that, I divide the sum by 3, or more accurately by quiz scores that length, to get the average. I return the result as a double so it shows decimals. This method is called displayInfo, and this is where all the output is printed. It first prints the student name, then it prints each quiz score. As you can see here, I added a condition to print commas between the scores. At the bottom, I formatted the average to 2 decimal places. Now let's move to the main class. This is the app class, and this is where the program starts. I created the scanner so I can get user input. For this part of the code, this part asks the user to enter the student's name. And next, this loop asks for 3 quiz scores one by one and stores them inside the array called scores. After getting all the inputs, I created one student object using the name and scores. Then, I put display info to show the complete student quiz report. So when I run the program, this is the output of my program. For example, the student name is Jandria, and her quiz scores are 20, for score 2 is 19, and score 3 is 17. So after entering them, the program will display this. So here you can see the complete student quiz report. It shows the student name, the 3 quiz scores separated by commas, and the average score, which is the 18.67. For problem 2, the task is to track the product sales over 4 weeks. So we need to store the product's name, weekly sales values, calculate the total sales, and display everything. So I put import java.util.scanner, and this part of the code is to declare the product class, and it has two fields, which is the product name for the name of the product and the sales for a double array for 4 weekly sales values. So this part of the code is the constructor. It receives the product name and weekly sales array when creating a project object and stores them in the fields. This code calculates the total sales by adding all 4 weekly sales. This code prints the product name, each week's sales formatted with 2 decimals, and the total sales at the end. This code is the main method. This code asks the user to input the product name for weekly sales values. Then it creates a product object and calls displayInfo to print the summary. This is what appears in the terminal. So for example, the product name is Coke, and for week 1, sale is 23, and for week 2 is 3234, week 3 is 4,354, and for week 4 is 3,434. So you can see the product name, sales for each week formatted with two decimals, and the total sales which correctly sums up all weekly values, which is the $13,322. For problem 3, we are analyzing an athlete's performance in 5 events. So first, I put import java.util.scanner, and then for this part of the code, this code declares the athlete class. It has two fields, the athlete name for the athlete's name, and times for a double array for the 5 event times. This part of the code is the constructor. When I create an athlete object, this part receives the name and event times and stores them in object. This code defines the best time method. It goes through all event times and finds the lowest value, which is the fastest time. This code is the display info method, which prints the athlete's name, all event time, and the fastest time for formatted to two decimals. For this code, this is the main method. This code asks the user to input the athlete's name and 5 event times. Then it creates an athlete object and calls display info to show the results. So when you run the code, the output or the terminal will show this. So for example, the athlete name is Jandria and the event time for 1 is 10.6, for number 2 is 10.2, for event time 3 is 10.7, same with the number 4, and event time 5 is 10.9. So if you enter that, this output will show the athlete's name, all event times, and the fastest time. You can see that the program correctly calculates the fastest event. For problem 4, the task is to collect ratings for a book from 4 users, and then compute the average rating and display a summary. So first, I put import java.util.scanner. And for this part of the code, this code declares the book class. It has two fields. The first one is the title for the book's title and the ratings, an integer array to store ratings from 4 users. For this part of the code, this is the constructor. When we create a book object, it receives the book title and ratings array and stores them in the object. This part of the code, this method calculates the average rating by summing all 4 ratings and dividing by the numbers of ratings. For this part, this method prints the book title, all individual user ratings, and the average rating formatted to 1 decimal place. This part of the code is the main method. This code asks the user to input the book title and ratings from 4 users. It checks if each rating is valid, if it's 1 to 5 stars, and then it creates a book object and calls display info to print the summary. So if you run the code, the terminal will show this. So for example, the book title is 1984 and the rating for user 1 is 4, same with 2 and 3. And for the user 4 is 5. So after entering this, the terminal output will be like this. You can see the program prints the book title, each user's rating, and the average rating, which is the 4.3 over 5 stars. For problem 5, the task is to summarize a store's income for 6 months. First, I put import java.util.scanner and then import java.text.number format. For this part of the code, this code declares the store class. It has two fields, store name for the name of the store and income for 6 months of income. And then I put number format and f equals number format that get number instance. For this part of the code is the constructor. It receives the store name and income values and stores them in the object. This code calculates the total income by adding all 6 months of income. This code prints the store name, income for each month formatted with commas, and the total income at bottom. For the main method, this code asks the user to input the store name and 6 income values. Then it creates a store object and it calls display info to print the report. So when you run the code, this is what appears in the terminal. So for example, the store name is Aling Puring Store and the income for month 1 is 13,500, for month 2 is 12,500, for month 3 is 13,000, month 4 15,000, month 5 12,000, and for month 6 is 12,400. So after entering them, the output will show this. This output shows the store name, each month's income formatted neatly, and the total income, which is the 78,400 pesos.